Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom and welcome back to today's Daf, which is Pesachim Memvav. We are on Mem Ham and Beis, 4 lines from the bottom. Going back to the Mishnah, which taught us that if a person should find some pieces of dough embedded inside his kneading bowl, so inside the Sidki Areva, in the cracks of this kneading trough, the Mishnah told us it depends how large these pieces are. If they're kazayis or larger, then he has to remove them before Pesach. They're not bottled to the bowl. If they're smaller than a kazayis, they're bottled to the bowl. We learned yesterday they serve as a reinforcement to plug the holes and fill up the cracks. They're part and parcel of the bowl material. There's no concern regarding chametz. The Mishnah continued. We'll start 4 lines from the bottom of the Amud. V'chein le'inyan tumah. The same thing applies to tumah. If we have some dough embedded inside this bowl, im makbid alav chaytitz. If the owner is makbid, he's particular about the presence of this dough, he's going to remove it, then it's not considered as part of the kli. It's considered food. It's a separate entity, and it's chaytitz. Simple meaning would be that if he's toivel this bowl, this dough gets in the way. It presents a concern, a chatzitza concern, a barrier between the water and the kli. But if he wants it to remain in place, then it's bottled to the kli. Hari kareva, it's considered like part and parcel of this bowl. It's no longer considered eichel, it's considered kli, and does not pose a chatzitza concern. Says Rami Dami, how are the two things comparable? You begin discussing Pesach, which is dependent on the size criterion. The kazayis is a concern, less than kazayis is bottle. Then you proceed with Tumah, where it's unrelated to size, rather to attitude and makbid or not makbid. Midami. Hasam b'shi'ura talim. Over there by Pesach, the beginning of the Mishnah, depends on size. Hacha b'kpeda talim. Here by Tumah, you tell me it's not related to size. Depends if the person's makbid or not. It's totally up to the, depending on the mindset and the attitude. So even if it's a large size piece of chametz, if it is not makbid, it's batal. So why does the Mishnah compare the two things? V'chein. Two things seem to be unrelated. Rabbi Yehuda, you're right. Ema, interpret the Mishnah as follows. You're right. Tumah does not follow the same guidelines. Chametz is size-based. Tumah is attitude-based. Amar Abaye, v'chein l'nitumah ktani. Says Abaye, but look at the Mishnah. It says v'chein l'nitumah. Apparently, they're both one and the same. Ella Amar Abaye hachikama. This is what the Mishnah means to say. There are two parts to Tumah. Number one, v'chein le'inyan tziruf tumah b'Pesach. When it comes to the concept of mitzaref, we're going to see soon what this means. With respect to tumah, if it's on Pesach, then it works with the same guidelines as the beginning of the Mishnah. It's size-based. So if it's a kazayis, it has significance. Ubishari ma'isashani keplukta. But when it comes to the same halacha with respect to the rest of the year, non-Pesach, then it depends on if he's makbid or not. It's not size-based, rather it's mindset-based. Says in Wechadami, what are we speaking about? Let's explain ourselves. So we have a food item which has less than a share kibetza. We know that it cannot be metame something else. Food which is tummy cannot transmit tumah unless it has a share kibetza. So we have less than a kibetza. But v'nogu b'hai batzik, it came into contact with this piece of dough embedded inside his bowl. What we're trying to do is reach a total shear of a kibetza. We want to join them together so that the batzik inside the areva will complete the shear of the eichel, give it a shear kibetza, and then allow it to be something else. So how do we treat the dough inside this bowl? Is it food? Or is it wood? Is it bottled to the wood? That depends. But Pesach, depends on what time of the year we're speaking about. At Pesach, we work with different guidelines than the rest of the year. Why? At Pesach, the Yisurei, Chashav, the fact that a kazayis of dough creates Isser, you have to remove it, as we learned at the beginning of the Mishnah, that makes it Chashav, due to its Isser. It has prominence, significance, because you have to reckon with it. Mitzdarf. So during Pesach, since a kazayis has significance, due to the chi of beer on a kazayis in the areva. Right? That was the halacha in the beginning of the Mishnah. If you have a kazayis of dough in the areva, for Pesach, you have to be concerned, you have to remove it. So that itself grants it chashivas. Being that that's the case, you consider it like oichel. It's separate from the kli, and it's done. It can join with the other oichel to complete its shir. You have two parts of a kibetza of food. Now you have a total of a kibetza. I can be matami. So this is the example. This is the tuma example the Mishnah is referring to. V'chein in the tuma is speaking about creating a tziruf between one piece of food connecting with this dough inside the areva. Can they connect? Can they complete each other and make a shir or kibetza? Is this dough considered food? And to what extent? What shir is needed to make it food? So on Pesach, we work with a shir of a kazayis. That gives it significance. It needs to be removed. A kazayis is considered oichel. So if it's a shir kazayis, it can join with the other piece of food and have a total of a kibetza. However, throughout the rest of the year, where this concept doesn't apply, there's no bir chametz, there's no significance, the kipeda talim also. During the rest of the year, where it depends on kipeda, then it's totally mindset dependent. If the owner is makbid, wants to remove this piece of dough, it doesn't belong on my bowl, then it's not considered a kli, it's not considered part of the wood, it's considered oichel. And then it can be mitzvah with the other oichel to create a kibetz. If he wants it to remain in place, then it's considered kli. It's regarded like the areva, and we don't treat it like food. So Abrai's approach is that let's just follow the literal wording of the Mishnah. Yeah, this concept of a kazayis applies to tumah as well. On Pesach, a kazayis has chashivas and is regarded like oichel due to the fact that it has to be removed from this kli. The Mishnah continues, relating to makbid and a makbid. That relates to the rest of the year. So then, it depends on his attitude. If he wants it removed, it's considered food. If he wants it to remain in place, it's considered a kli. Perhaps, let's see Rashi inside, starting from the top of the Amud. So Abai says, "L'inyan tzir of tuma." As the Moshe will explain, the Pesach talim is a b'shirei. During Pesach, it's sheer, size dependent. Throughout the rest of the year, then it depends. Chiluk ben makbid, she'ena makbid. V'hainet on a sefer and makbid olav. That explains the next part of the Mishnah. Makbid applies to the rest of the year. So what's the case of tziruf? Continues Rashi. The kepachas mekabetza oichlan to noga v'haibatzik hadovik b'arev. You have a piece of oichel which is less than a kebetza, which touched the dough inside the arev. V'noga ben tuma, and now a tuma touched this combination. V'tami, they became tami. V'hadar noga ben oichlan toirim, and then some toir food came into contact with this combo, with the oichel that's touching the dough. So it depends. What size does that dough have to be considered food, and not part of the bowl? But Pesach, the Isra Chametz mechashvoi, v'yiseu chashiv. On Pesach, when the Isra Chametz gives it chashivas, it's a detriment, it's a negative identity, but it's chashivas. Hoyle kazayis husker lichashiv li Isra Chametz. Since, with respect to Isra Chametz, a kazayis was said as the guideline. Because this Sani Rish, as Mishnah told us, Hashta linear Tuma Nami lebatal gabareva. Therefore, when it comes to Tuma as well, it works along the same rules. A kazayis has chashivas on Pesach and is not considered part of the areva. Umitzdarv lashlam kabetza, and can complete the share kabetza of the other food because this too is regarded as food and not as kli. Even though he's not makvid, he doesn't mind if it remains in place and helps to reinforce his kli and prevent leakage. Still, if it's a kazayis, which Pesach mandates its removal, it has chashivas, has oichel status, and can be mashed in the shir kibetz. However, throughout the rest of the year, you don't have this concept that the isser makes it chashiv. Then it depends on the person's mindset. If he's makbid, he doesn't want it there. He wants to remove it from his kli. Then it's mitzdarf to the other food to complete the share. Why? To chashav oichel, because it's considered oichel. Hoyel v'sefer little, because he's going to end up removing it. But if he intends on leaving it there, then it's not considered oichel. Maskef l'Rava. Says Rava, miktani mitzdarf. Where do you find the term tziruf in our Mishnah? Well, chaytzitz katani. Mishnah says if he's makbid, it's chaytzitz. How do you get siruf in the picture? Elam Rava, so he switches things around a bit. He's following with a biased approach that there are two aspects to Tumah. There's the Pesach guideline and the rest of the year guideline. But he switches around the scenario, the application. Elam Rava, b'chila halis tar la'areva. We're speaking that the areva became tummy, and he wants to give it tahara, wants to be toivel. That explains why the Mishnah refers to it as chatzitza. The question is the dough create a chatzitza? Hechidami. What's the example? Kigoin di tameh hareva. This bowl became tummy. Uboilat puli. Wants to be toilet with its dough intact. So, does it pose a chatzitza concern? But Pesach the Yisuri chashuv. So it depends. On Pesach, we work with shir, with kazayis. Because on Pesach, the Isser makes it chashuv. Chaytzitz. So if you have a kazayis, and it's on Pesach, that creates a chatzitza. It's not considered part and parcel of the kli. And the tefillah is not effective. Throughout the rest of the year, well, you don't have this Isser factor, then it depends on his mindset. If he's makbid, he objects to the presence of this dough, then it's not considered kli, it's considered food. And it creates a chatzitza. If he wants it to remain in place, then it's considered kli. It's considered like part of the areva. So basically, Rava followed in line with Abaye. And the Mishnah here is applying two separate guidelines when it comes to Tumah. On Pesach, it's size dependent, because that's connected with the Isser, that gives it Chashivas. And the Shai Meis Hashana, it's Kpeda dependent. But he's learning that it's applied to being toivel, the Kli in the mikveh. A Kli which was already tummy. Maskil for Rapapa. So Rapapa asked, Miktani v'chein lin tahara? Does the Mishnah say v'chein lin tahara? According to you, it should have said it that way. The same concept applies to tahara. Trying to be toivel, to be matar, a kli which was tummy. It doesn't say that. Rather, ha linin tuma katani. Mishnah says v'chein lin tuma. So apparently, we're referring to a different application. Elam Rapapa. So again, he's following the same general rule, general approach to the Pshat Mishnah, that Pesach has one din, it's size dependent, and the rest of the year works according to Kpeda, but he has a different application, slightly different application. V'chein le'inin lahirid tuma la'areva. We're speaking about tuma. V'chein le'inin tuma. Whether or not we can apply tuma to the areva. What does that mean? Hey chidami. What is the example here? Kigoyin de noga sheretz by basak. You have a bowl with dough marks, and the sheretz, which is tummy, came into contact, not with the actual wall of the bowl, but touched the dough embedded in the wall. The question is, did the bowl become tummy? Did the sheretz come into contact with the bowl via the dough? Is the dough considered part of the kli or not? So it depends. But Pesach, the Yisuri chashuv, if it's on Pesach, where the Isser gives it chashivas, so then the kazayis is considered a separate entity, because it has to be removed, not considered part of the kli. Chaytzitz. That creates a barrier between the sheretz and the kli. The kli is not tummy. Only the dough is tummy, not the kli. And tuma did not descend on the kli. However, throughout the rest of the year, the b'kpeda talimos. Over there, it's a mindset criterion. So if he's makbid on it, he wants to remove that dough, then it's not considered part of the kli, and it creates that chatzitza between the sheretz and the kli. The sheretz touched the dough, but not the kli. Dough is food; it's not kli, because he never considered it to be part of his kli. However, if he wants it to remain in place, he doesn't intend on removing that dough. And the dough is one and the same with the areva. The sheretz that touched the dough is as though he touched the areva, and the areva is tummy. So in summation, Mishnah tells us that this concept, same concept that applies to Pesach, with the dough found in the areva, will apply to Tumah. And we basically have three approaches. We have Abaye, we have Rava, and Rapapa. They're all based on the same premise, that on Pesach, it's size related. A kazayis of dough has significance because of its isser. Throughout the rest of the year, we work based on kpeda. Is he makbid? then it's considered a separate entity. If he's not makbid, it's batal to the kli. The only difference is that according to Abaye, the application was regarding tziruf. According to Rava, regarding being toivel as bowl, and whether this thing is considered chatzitza. According to our Papa, regarding being matam in the bowl by touching the dough, is it considered part of the bowl or is it not? Continues the Mishnah. Batzik acherish, deaf, a deaf dough. As she says that it's slightly pale and hadn't yet exhibited signs of chimetz. So, should we suspect that it's chametz or not? Im yesh kayetze boy she'achmetz. If you could compare it with another dough that was prepared within the same time frame, so let's say both doughs are 20 minutes old, and you can compare one to the other, and the other one, you see clearly is already chametz. Im yesh kayetze boy, if there's something similar to it, she'achmetz, which already turned into chametz, harei asar, then this dough as well is asar. Says the Gemara, ein sham kayetze boy mao. What if we have nothing like it to compare it to? So where's the halacha there? Amar Avo, Amar B'Shimon Melakish. You give it enough time. This is the 18-minute rule. So below that time limit, you can assume it's still okay. But past that, you have to be chayshish that it's chametz. So what's the cutoff point? Kedei sheyelech adam migdal nunya tferya mil. If this dough was produced a while ago, with enough time having passed to allow a person to travel from Migdal Nunya to Tveria, which is a mil, 2,000 amma, then we have to be chayshish that it's already chametz. And this is assumed to be 18 minutes. So 18-minute old dough is asr. V'nei a mil. So why doesn't he simply say a mil? Why describe these locations and the distance between them? Hakamashmon is coming to teach us. Give us a formula which you can apply to all times. The shiur de mil, kimi migdal nunya of atferi. What is the shiur of mil? Take a look at the distance between this town and the other, and you know that it's a mil. So it's an easy way to remember. If you forget what a mil is, just take a look at the distance there, and you know what a mil is. Amar Avo, Amar B'Shimon Melakish. So we're going to bring another halacha from the same Ad Amar, Rabbi Avo, B'Shimon Melakish, who tells us like this: Legavel uletfila ulentil sedaim arba amilan. A person is required to travel a distance of 4 mil, so 4 times 2,000 amma, for the following 3 reasons. Legavel, Rashi describes this as a person who was hired to knead. He's a kneader. He was hired to produce some dough, b'tahara, for a Baal Bayis. Now, if it so happened that the kalim there are tamei, and he committed himself to do it b'tahara, he has to go find a mikveh. He has to walk up until 4 mil to find a mikveh, to be matar those kalim. But if it's beyond 4 mil, he's not required unless he gets paid extra. But if it's beyond 4 mil, he's allowed to, he has the option of breaking that commitment. Taisus in Chulin learns differently. He learns that the halacha is that a person has to do his, make his dough, produce his dough b'tahara, presumably to keep it tar, so the chal is tar. And if you can access a person, a gavel, a person who would need dough b'tahara within 4 mil, then he must travel to find that person. That's the first item on the list, legavel. Uletfila, a person must travel 4 mil to find a minyan. Uletil sadaim, or to find water to wash his hands prior to eating. So all these halachas have one common denominator, the 4 mil requirement. Amar Nachmar Yitzchak, Aivu Amra. But it actually wasn't Rabbi Vo who said it was Aivoi. Farbo Amar. There was actually another item on the list, a 4th item. V'chadam menayu ibud. And the other one is ibud, which is also connected to the 4 mil rule. This nan, the kulan she'ibdan, we're speaking about various skins which are regarded like flesh, and they're matame, they're considered like oichel. But should he go ahead and process them? The kulan she'ibdan, he processed them. Or he walked on them, they were trampled upon. The shear of kedei avodah is considered sufficient to process them. Going forward, they're no longer regarded as basar, they're not matame. it's considered to be bottle from its eichel status. It's considered like hard, like leather. Chutz ma'ir adam, except for human skin, Chacham made exera that it always remained tummy. Now we had a term kedei avoida, the amount necessary to make it processed. V'kama kedei avoida. What is that? How much trampling does it need? Amar Rav Ayvui, Amar Rav Yanai, kedei hiluch haba milan. It was trampled enough for enough time that would take a person to walk 4 mil, which is presumed to be around 72 minutes. So 18 is a mil, so 4 times 18 is 72 minutes. So if this skin was trampled upon for 72 minutes, it's considered processed and does no longer has a din of flesh. So if another application to the din of 4 mil. So in total we have 4. We have 2 pertaining to a person on the road. You have to go find a minion to walk 4 mil. When it comes to the Tel Sedayim, person's on the road, he has no water, 4 mil. When it comes to the gavel, needing that dough, that has nothing to do with a traveler. It's just a straightaway din that a person has to go and find a way to be matarit. And certainly the concept of trampling has nothing to do with trampling. This halacha pertaining to the traveler, those 2 cases, the tefillah and until Sadayim, we require him to travel 4 mil. That's only Elul Lefanav. He's on the road and he knows he can access a shul within 72 minutes going forward. Or he can find water up ahead on the road. So he has to travel 4 mil because he's not losing much in any case. He's traveling in that direction, regardless. That's why he's a chiv of 4 mil. Aval achrav. But in these cases, a person's traveling. He's looking for a minion or needs water. And he doesn't have anything up ahead on the road. Rather, it's behind him. He has to reverse direction, go back. Afilu mil ein chayzer. Then even if it's a mil away, there's no chiv to be matriach him to travel and lose ground. Amar Bacha umina. And from this statement of Rabbi Yosef Chanina, we can learn mil hu ein chayzer. Yeah, he doesn't have to go back. He doesn't have to go a mil out of his way. Ha pachas mil chayzer. But if it's only less than a mil away, then he has to do it, even if it's out of his way. So conclusion, we learned 4 halachas pertaining to the shear of arba'a milan. We had the gavel. So according to Rashi, this fellow who was hired to produce tahir dough, he has to get out, go find a mikvah if he knows that it's within 4 mil. We learned regarding trampling on that skin, kedei avoida. If it was trampled upon for the shear of 72 minutes, shear 4 mil, it's no longer considered basar, it's not metame, it's considered leather. We learned 2 halachas regarding a traveler. The person's on the road and he knows that there's a minion up ahead. He has to travel to find that minion if it's within 4 mil. Same thing regarding Tel Sedayim. If it's behind him, he needs to go out of his way, then only if it's within a mil. Now the Chavetz Chaim in Bir Halacha writes that we speak about 1 mil and 4 mil, which is a distance formula, but in reality, it's really a time frame. It says today we could travel faster than they used to. So their mil took 18 minutes to walk, but by us it could take perhaps a couple of seconds. So he says it's really a time-based formula. We speak about needing to find a minion within 4 mil. What it means to say is within 72 minutes of traveling. Ola achrav, within a mil, means to say within 18 minutes. So it's a time-based formula. When we speak about matzah, it needs to be under 18 minutes. And that's considered for us a shear mil. Continues the Mishnah. Keitzad mafrishin challah toma b'yom tov. How is one meant to separate the challah portion of the dough on Yom Tov if the dough happens to be tummy? What's the problem? Let's see Rashi. Rashi has 5 lines from the bottom, right in the middle of that first wide line. Masnisin. Keitzad mafrishin challah b'toma. Shenit meseisa. The dough got tummy. V'shuv ein challah hanetels mimena ru'i lachilas kohen. And the challah portion will no longer be suitable for the kohen. He can't eat challah tmeya. So how do we go about it? Keitzad mafrishin oisa b'yom tov shel Pesach. We're speaking on Pesach, of course. Why? What's wrong? He can't go ahead Once he separates the challah, he can't take that challah, which is tummy, and bake it. Why? Because it's not right for anybody. It's useless. You can't just go and bake something unnecessarily. To leave it alone till after Yom Tov, till Chol Hamoed, then burn it. Now you can't do either because it's going to become chametz. To burn it now, feed it to a dog, that you can't do either. One can't dispose of kachim and the truma on Yom Tov. So, what are you meant to do with a dough which happens to be tummy? How do you address the challah chiv? Says the Mishnah, Keitzav nafishin challah b'tum b'Yom Tov. So you have three shittas. Lez oimer, lo tikru l'shem acha toifa. You know what? The isha should not separate the challah. She shouldn't give it a shem challah until she bakes it. She bakes the entire batch. You can do that, says Rashi, because we don't know which one is going to be challah. Theoretically, each one will be eaten by the person, right? So that allows you to bake everything. And then after you bake it, now there's no longer chametz concern. Now you mafresh challah. According to Rabbi Lezer, you can't be mafresh when it's still in the dough stage, because then you have to leave it on the side and become chametz, and you're responsible. You have a chrayis that shouldn't become chametz. Therefore, better go ahead and bake the whole batch and then do the challah. Even though the chatchila you meant to do challah when it's in the dough stage, but here this is the preferred manner. He says no, you can't bake it because perhaps he holds that if you know with certainty that something, this challah portion in this dough will not be edible, then you can't just go ahead and bake everything. You don't want to bake something which is not going to be eaten. So rather than do that, separate the challah portion when it's in its dough stage and immerse it in cold water to prevent it from becoming chametz. Apparently, Rabbi Lezer holds, let's not rely on that, the chatchila. Taisus points out that, but the Evid, of course, all agree you can do that. But the chatchila, Rabbi Lezer prefers baking it to avoid all concerns becoming chametz. On Rabbi Shua, he disagrees. He says, why are you concerned about this dough becoming chametz? And you go and you're baking it. This is not the type of chametz that a person is obligated, is forewarned with the lav of aliyah b'alei matzah. It's not yours. Let's see Rashi on top. The Gemara will explain. The lav deyu. It's not his. After he gave it the name Challah, who does it belong to? It's no longer mine. Ukruksiv. We have a pasuk which says Shachayataroya. Right? It has to be yours. It's not yours. Nor is it your friends. It's not even the coins. Hadn't yet been given to the coin. So why are we concerned about the challah turning into chametz? Separate the challah in its dough stage. Let it become chametz. Ella mafreshasa manachasa aderef. She's mafresh the dough. She leaves it until nightfall. It became chametz. So be it. So we have three shittas. According to Rabbi Lezer, he is concerned about this thing becoming chametz. For some reason, he considers it to be your responsibility. You can't allow this challah portion to become chametz. Rather, go ahead and bake it. And that you can do. It's not yet challah, it's not yet designated. Everything potentially can be eaten by the owner. So go bake it and then do the challah. Rabbi Sarah says, put it into cold water. Rabbi Shua says, just separate and leave it alone. It's not yours in any case. You have no chiv al yorba imatz. So what's the point of the machlekes between Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Shua? Rabbi Lezer is concerned about the chametz. Rabbi Shua is not. Leima b'tevis hanokah mafleki. Tevis hanokah means that the Yisrael owner is allowed to receive some sort of compensation, a token payment, to direct his truma or his challah to a specific coin. Suppose the relative of that coin will approach Yisrael and say, look, I have a relative who can use some truma. Here, take a token amount, take some a small amount of money, and direct your matanis kuna to him. That's called toivas hano. So Yisrael can do that, accept that toivas hano. The question is, due to that allowance, is it considered as though he really, the fact that he has that financial interest in the truma and the challah, he can gain some benefit, he can have some hana from it. Does that make it his? That financial interest, is that equal to ownership? So that's the point of machlokes. This challah, for which Yisrael can accept some token payment, in order to direct it to a specific coin, does that make it his? The fact that he has that financial interest. According to Rabbi Yehuda, yes. According to Rabbi Yehuda, no. Therefore, Rabbi Yehuda is concerned about it becoming chametz. It's like yours. Perhaps that's the pshat. Leima b'tevis hano kamifliki. Perhaps the machlokes revolves around the nature and status of tevis hano. The Rabbi Yehuda savar tevis hano mammon. The fact that he has that tevis hano capability, it makes it his mammon. It can't become chametz. It's his. Rabbi Shua savar tevis hano ain't a mammon. No, it's not considered money. It's a residual hano. It's not considered a true financial interest. Therefore, it's not his, and he can let him become chametz. Is that the pshat? No, not necessarily. The kuli alma tavisan no enaman. Perhaps all agree that's not considered enough to be considered your mom. So is machlokes. V'hacha behoyel kamifliki. The question is, do we apply hoyel since? What does that mean? The Blazer Savar. I'm reading it. We say like this: hoyel. He boy itchola. Should he make this challah? Can he still undo that? Yes. Rashi explains that all types of things which get activated by verbal expression, by dibur, a neder, a truma, kachim, there's a simple way out. He goes to the Rav and undoes that dibur, like Hadaras Nadar. So Leda says, even after that, you separate it as challah. You still have potential access. You can undo the challah status. That makes it yours. I'm reading the hoyel. If you would wish, you can go ahead and be shoyel. Go undo that nether. Go undo that challah. And make it ordinary dough. Remove the challah status. Due to that capability, it is considered his. Since he always has that option to bring it back home, therefore, even once it became challah, it's still considered his. And it can't become chametz. Rabbi Shua Savar lo yamin hoyel. We don't say this hoyel concept. Right now it's challah, it's not yours. So that explains the machlokes namish. The Gemara will proceed with another similar concept of hoyel. Itma. A person should bake something on Yom Tov. After he finished eating, he no longer needs this baked good for today, for Yom Tov. He's doing it for the sake of a weekday, for tomorrow. Rav Chizdam like it. He gets malchus. Pasuk says, this is not Eichel Nefesh, this is for tomorrow. Rabba Ma'ina like it. There's no malchus. Rav Chizdam like it. Why? We don't say hoyel. Umikli le'oichem. Chazile. Since if guests would arrive, they would need it, right? So potentially, it has use, has Eichel Nefesh purpose on Yom Tov. We don't say that. We don't say since if guests would arrive, Chazile, that makes it suitable. That makes it roy for Yom Tov. That gives it a status of Eichel Nefesh. We don't say that. Bottom line is, right now he doesn't need it. He's not expecting any guests. It's a malacha. Rabba Amar, ain't like it. There's no malchus. Why? I'm reading hoyel. We play hoyel. If guests would unexpectedly arrive, would they need this food? Yeah. So technically, this thing can serve a Yom Tov purpose. So there's no malchus. It's not called a malach. So again, if Chizah says it gets malchus, there's no hoyel. Rabbi says there is no malchus. We apply hoyel. Amalei Rabba l'Rav Chizah. L'didach dam. So according to you, now you say lo yamrin hoyel. They don't apply hoyel. If that's the case, heich oifen Yom Tov l'Shabbos. How does a person bake on Yom Tov for tomorrow, for Shabbos? We know that it's something called Erev Tavshila. But it's only a Rabbanon. How would you address the Issa D'Oraisa? According to you, baking on Yom Tov for the sake of tomorrow, for Shabbos, involves the Malacha. Malacha. So according to me, I apply Hoyel. Well, maybe some guests would arrive, so technically I'm not doing a Malacha. But according to you, how's it mutter? Amar le. So Chizah responded, Mishum Erev Tavshilin. Very simple. He made Erev Tavshilin. So he separated some food yesterday. He began cooking for Shabbos before Yom Tov. And on Yom Tov, he's simply continuing that process. So that allows. So he says, Mishum Erev Tavshilin. Shavin Yisur D'Oraisa? According to you, it's Issa D'Oraisa. On account of the Erev Tavshilin arrangement, it's going to be Mater Issa D'Oraisa? How could that do that? Omerle, so he told him like this. There's no deraisa concern, because midaraisa, tzorich is Shabbos nasa b'yomtiv. Really, you can cook something for Shabbos. The needs of Shabbos can be accomplished on Yontif. Rashi brings that Yontif and Shabbos are both called Shabbos, and whatever. The term Shabbos applies to both equally. They're both considered the same type of Kedusha. Chada Kedusha, here Rashi says. So technically, cooking on Yom Tov for the sake of Shabbos poses no concern whatsoever. That's Minat Torah. Now, the Rabbanon, who do Gazr Beit, Rabbanon applied Gzeir, didn't allow that. Gzeir Shema Yomru. They said, well, if a person will cook and bake on Yom Tov for Shabbos tomorrow, people will say, Gzeir Shema Yomru, Oifin Yom Tov Aflachel. You can also bake on Yom Tov for Lachel, for a weekday. That's all you can't do. This is the Raisa. So, with Rabbanon, we don't allow baking on Yom Tov, even for the sake of Shabbos. Now, how do we address the Rabbanon concern? By Erev Tavshilin. V'chivan, that's Rechor Rabbanon Erev Tavshilin. Since Rabbanon required the Erev Tavshilin to be established, that addresses the concern. Islay Hekera, it creates a heker, a recognition. It demonstrates to all that, look, this is not just cooking on Yom Tov for a different day, which might lead to confusion. Look, I began cooking yesterday, I'm just resuming the process. That creates a heker. It shows that Yom Tov is unique and special. You can't just freely bake on Yom Tov for any day. It needs to conform to certain guidelines, and indeed, you can only bake on Yom Tov for the sake of Shabbos. So the bottom line is that, according to both shittas, Rav and Rav Chizda, Minat Torah, you may prepare something on Yom Tov for the sake of Shabbos tomorrow, and it's based on different reasons. Rabbah is because of the Hoyel concept, because perhaps some guests might still arrive today. So Minat Torah there's no Isser. In the Rabbanan it's still Asr, because you might go and prepare on Yom Tov for Hoyel, therefore the Erev Tavshilin is required. And according to Chizah, Minat Torah, you can go ahead and prepare something on Yom Tov for tomorrow Shabbos, because Shabbos and Yom Tov are one and the same Kedusha. That's Minat Torah. In the Rabbanan, you must refrain. The Erev Tavshilin addresses that concern. Now, interesting, Taisus points out that there is still an afkamina, the difference between Rav and Rav Chizda. Let's say it's right before Shkia. It's at the end of Yom Tov. And you know that this food that you're cooking will not be edible. There won't be enough time for it to be consumed today. Even if some Urechim arrive, it won't be useful. So according to Rabbah, who's basing his heter on Hoyel, it won't apply in this case. And even with an Erev Tavshilin, won't help matters, because the Erev Tavshilin only addresses the Issa D'Rabbanan. It won't address Issa D'Raisa. There's a possible Isasakal Malacha. So when there's Hoyel, there's enough time that theoretically the food can be consumed by guests. Fine, there's no Issa D'Raisa. But when it's close enough to the end of Yom Tov, when Hoyel doesn't apply, then it's also Minat Torah. Whereas according to Rav Chizda, who learns that the heter is because of the fact that Shabbos and Yom Tov are similar in nature, and you can go ahead and cook on one for the sake of the other. So even if it's at the last moment of Yom Tov, no concern. You're allowed to cook on Yom Tov for Shabbos. So that's the Raisa concern, and the Seder Rabbanan, the Gzeir, is addressed by Erev Tavshilin. So even if it's a minute before Shkia, if he has an Erev Tavshilin, he can go ahead and prepare on Yom Tov for the sake of tomorrow Shabbos. Continues the more Esvei. So Rabbi asked Rav Chizda another kasha. Behema Masukenes, Lo Yishchet. Brisa says a person has an animal who's in a precarious state of health. He's afraid that's going to die and become asa and avela. It's Yom Tov. Lo Yishchet. He can't shecht it to salvage his animal. Ella, unless unless there's enough time available to still eat a kazayis at least of this animal, roasted, so it's a very quick preparation process. There's enough time even for that. To eat a kazayis soli mi boyjoy, and you go ahead and shecht it. That's the brisa. Yochel lechel. The brisa is saying if he could eat, afkav loy moyel mechel, even though he has no interest in eating. He's full, he just had his meal. Now, Bishlam, so this is Rav Chizda speaking, Rabbah speaking. According to me, the Amri Hoyel, that we apply Hoyel. So here as well, we'll say Hoyel, vi boilo mechel, motzi achel. Since if he should want to eat, he can eat. There's enough time to make food available from this animal. That explains why he can shecht it. Hoil is applied. But according to you, Rav Chizda, who doesn't apply oil, the Amris, lo yamin oil, how can he shecht this animal? He's not interested in eating. Hoil, if he would want to eat, that doesn't help matters. Amalei. So Rav Chizda responded, Mishum hefsed ramayna. We allow it on account of the hefsed moment, on account of the tremendous loss that he's going to experience. Oh, Mishum hefsed money shavina yisur deraisa? How could that be? Due to a financial loss, we're going to mata isur deraisa? Amalach yautif. Amalei. So Rav Chizda responded, no, that's not what I meant. Yes, Mishum hefsed ramayna gora b'liba lechel kazais. What I meant is that on account of the loss that he's about to face, he's going to force himself to eat a kazais. Gomer b'liboy. He makes up his mind. Lechel kazais. To force himself to eat a kazais. Now, once he's going to eat a kazais, then that allows him to shech the behemoth. Because the efshel kazais basel is shchita. You can't have kazais without shchita. So, we're speaking that he's actually going to eat that kazais. And that allows him to do shchita on this cover. Okay, let's make a quick chazar into today's daf. We began back with the Mishnah that discussed the dough stuck in the bowl, and the Gemara tells us that what the Mishnah means, that the same halacha applies to Tumah, is as follows. On Pesach, we depend on the shear. If it's a kazayis, then it has significance due to the isser. Throughout the rest of the year, then it doesn't depend on shear, rather it's kpeda related. Depends on his mindset and attitude. We have three approaches. We have Abaye, who says that we apply this concept regarding tziruf oichlin. So we have less than a kibetza, which is trying to attach itself to that piece of dough. The question is that dough considered part of the bowl, a kli, and is not oichel, or is it separate from the kli and considered oichel? Rabbi said the application is pertaining to being toivel the kli. Do we consider that dough as a chatzitza or not? And Rav Papa says it's regarding being matame the kli. So sheretz touched the dough. Is that dough considered food separate from the kli, and the kli remains tar? Or do we say that the dough is considered part and parcel of that kli, and the kli now became tummy? So the Gemara says depends. If it was on Pesach, then if the dough has a kazayis, it's considered separate from the kli due to its significance and prominence, and it's not bottled in the kli. Throughout the rest of the year, then it depends if he's makpid. If he wants it removed, then it's considered separate, considered food. If he's not makpid, if he wants it to remain in place, it's considered part of the kli. We proceeded with the batzik achirish, and we said that if you can compare it to another dough, which was produced within the same time frame, and that dough has become chametz, then this dough as well is treated as chametz. Otherwise, the rule of thumb is a shear mill, which is 18 minutes. The Gemara told us about 4 cases where we apply the 4-mill formula. The gavel, the fellow preparing the dough b'tahara, he has to go be matar the kalim if you can find a mikveh within 4 mil. Those skins which were trampled upon a shear of 4 mil, 72 minutes, are no longer matame. And how far must it travel to find a minion, or water, for the tilsadayim, for the suda? So if it's along the same route, up until 4 mil, he has to go out of his way, only if it's less than a mil. The Mishnah told us, what happens if a person happens to have some dough which is tummy, and it's Pesach? How does he separate the challah portion? Well, as it says, just bake the entire batch, and then separate your challah. But Meseir says, separate it as dough, and take that challah portion and put it into cold water to prevent chimetz. Rabbi Shua says, separate it as dough, don't worry about the chimetz. It's in any case not yours. Why does Rabbi Lezer regard it as yours? Says the Gemara, because he holds of oil. Potentially, it can revert back to its original stage. He can go be mater, that nether, he can go remove the challah status. So since he has theoretical access, we consider it to be his. And therefore we can't allow it to become chametz. You have to bake it first, to remove any chimetz concerns. We proceeded with a similar concept of hoil. We have a case where a person baked on Yom Tov for the sake of an ordinary weekday. Does he get malchus? According to Rabbah, no malchus, because of hoil. Perhaps some unexpected guests will arrive, they'll need it. So it's considered to be eichel nefesh. According to Chizda, he gets malchus, we don't apply hoil. The Gemara concluded that all would agree in the following case. If it's Yom Tov, and he's preparing for tomorrow, which is Shabbos, in a Torah it's mutter, because either we apply Hoyel, or because Shabbos and Yom Tov are so close in nature, it's Chada Kedushi, which allows preparing on Yom Tov for the sake of Shabbos. However, Midrabanan, you can't go ahead and do that. We're concerned that he'll go ahead and prepare on Yom Tov for a weekday, which he can't. So the only way he can do so, the only way he can prepare on Yom Tov for Shabbos, is by establishing the Erev Tafshil. Be well, Hatzlacha Rabbah.